Thank you very much, Council and staff, for the invitation today. Some fun images here. Hopefully I'll get to talk about most of them. If I don't, ask me. There's a fun story behind all of them. So SOPEC is a council of governments. We are chartered under the state statute. Ohio is a deregulated energy market. You are allowed to procure power as an individual, as a community, or a group of communities. We represent that group of communities where we do this together jointly, and we're governed by the communities we serve accordingly. We're formed to streamline processes, and as we grow, more and more things we're able to bring to our communities. But again, we're there at the service of our communities and governed by them. Renewable energy has been a founding principle from the beginning. We've only strengthened that over the years. At present, 100% of our communities are renewable energy. 100% of them are also saving money, double digits at that. Estimated, my attorneys tell me I have to say, but compared to the standard service offers, we're in very good position. We're also a public agency. So just like councils, we are subject to public records, regular audits, sunshine laws. We have two governing bodies. Both of these are relevant for Upper Arlington. One is our General Assembly. This is our supreme governing body. They set our budget. They appoint the board directors, and they meet at least annually. I will say that we have actually been meeting quarterly with this group as folks want to participate more and more. Every member community has a vote, whether the city of Cleveland, city of Dayton, or a village in Appalachian, Ohio. You have one vote and one seat at the table. We also have a subset of that group, which is our 5 largest communities, 5 regions, and up to 5 at-large member entities. They typically meet quarterly, but with the General Assembly, we're generally superseding that with the GA at the moment. But those are the 2 governing bodies, and Upper Arlington would be represented on both. There's our current footprint. This changes almost by the day, it seems, lately. We are currently 28 member communities. That does include a few political subdivisions. And what I mean by that are sewer districts, watershed districts, 5 Rivers Metro Parks in the Dayton area, Muskegon Watershed to the east. So we have a few non-municipal entities like that, but largely counties, cities, villages. Our combined buying power at this point is about 1 terawatt hour of electricity, which is a lot. We would be the 2nd largest city in the state if you put all our combined populations together. Catching up to Columbus, not quite there yet, but starting to make some ground on that. So sampling of our staff team, we actually have a few additional staff who aren't listed here, but our primary staff team, and as we grow, we're adding staff in the field for the different regions. I mentioned Cleveland is now a member of us, so we are now hiring several staff to serve that part of the state, as well as some cross-cutting staff that will be serving statewide. We also have an exclusive partnership with AP Energy. We have had a contract with AP Energy for several years. Our last contract, we said we want this to go both ways. So it's a bilateral relationship. Any community that wants to utilize AP Energy now has to use us as well. And I'll explain why that is and why the model works the way it does. But the real short version is it gives us the ability to have very nimble pricing, whereas an RFP process requires you to have a much delayed process, and you can't be responsive to world events or markets. This is a commodity and one of the most volatile commodities. So we have processes to keep AP Energy honest as we get pricing, but we're also able to get daily pricing from them and lock in when it makes sense for our member communities. Most recently, Cleveland just locked in at a rate 49% below the standard service offer in First Energy territory. We also believe we are part of the communities we serve. And as that economic development is part of our spirit, and we believe we're part of that ecology and economy. So we've joined the chambers. We're also have statewide programs. We utilize those memberships to help promote with USDA and other organizations that we do different programs with and for. We're already a member of the Tri-Village Chamber here locally, as Marble Cliff is already a member as well. I'm not going to touch on this a whole lot because I believe Power Clean Future Ohio talked about this quite a bit, but if you have any questions, we definitely can come back to that. But the electricity grid is definitely a complicated, large structure. We are part of what's called PJM, which is 13 states. I like to refer to that as the air traffic controllers meet Wall Street. They manage the actual lines, wires, reliability in conjunction with the local utilities. So nothing changes. A lot of time residents have concern over reliability. This is all markets and generation supply. There's nothing that changes on day-to-day, either maintenance of the lines or management of them. Here's a picture of PJM. I said we've got pieces of 13 states there. So from New York to Chicago. A lot more to go deep there if you ever want to learn more about it. And actually, there's free trainings that PGM does periodically, often in Columbus, but also in near Philadelphia, where their headquarters is. So if you ever want to go deep on that, there's lots to learn. Community choice aggregation is a concept. I mentioned it's been in Ohio now for over 20 years. It's not in every state. I feel fortunate in Ohio we do have this, and we've utilized it as a tool for renewable energy. But there's a sampling of states that have some version of it. Some are more advanced in it than others in the deployment of it. Again, we're talking about generation. So lines, wires stays the same. We're talking about your ability to procure clean energy to serve your home or business. There are over 400 communities in Ohio that have activated community choice aggregation programs. Upper Arlington has in the past, as you guys are aware. We had helped some other communities reactivate their programs, including the city of Dayton, who saw over 30% savings in their program last year, as we brought them back online when they stopped and paused the program, I believe about the same time you guys had previously. But it's a pretty robust program, both gas and electric statewide, of communities that are currently engaged in this, especially with energy prices being what they are at present. Folks that are affected by these programs, so it's small, commercial, and residential. Folks who are in PIP programs, which is payment-based payment programs, are not impacted. Anybody who's ever shopped for their power before is not impacted, unless you've proactively decided to join into the program. If you're over a certain threshold for industrial customers, you're not included. If you've signed up for the Do Not Aggregate list on the PUCO, the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio, you are not included. So this is for folks who have not shopped for power who otherwise would be eligible to participate. So it's the new default setting for folks who haven't shopped. And I'll take a step back on this. I don't think we come back to it again. SOPEC is able to offer budget billing. There's some steps folks have to take to maintain that, but budget billing is available, as is net metering. We're the first aggregator in the state of Ohio to offer net metering for folks who have solar. We also do not have an early termination fee. So if folks don't want to participate in the program and miss the window of time to leave the program, there's no cost for them to leave at any time if they think they'd rather shop for power for themselves. The process for activating the program, you would be joining onto our plan of governance. So there'd be 2 public hearings, which the staff will be talking about here in a few minutes. For the chance, it's really a chance for the public to ask questions, broadly speaking, but by statute, those are for the plan of governance, to ask any questions folks have about those. You would have to pass a piece of legislation to join SOPEC and a second piece of legislation approving our plan of governance, which has been also approved by the PCO and all 28 members. And then sign our charter, which is our establishment agreement. Again, we are 100% green as our base supply. We have made available what we call a brown step down option for individuals who don't want to participate in the green program, but it's very minimal on an individual basis of folks who sign in for that proactively. But we've made our base program 100% green to reach the maximum amount of folks participating in it with little effort. We believe in fixed term pricing. We do our best, and we've been very successful as of late in securing competitive prices, often below the market price, for clean energy. We also bring with us an extended team. So I mentioned a few of our staff earlier. Increasingly valuable is our development office with grant writing. We just recently helped 20+ member communities write the charging and fueling infrastructure grant for a good chunk of Southern Ohio, which is going to increase EV chargers like you guys gratefully already have here. But our community resources include the grant writing staff, also include outside counsel. We have Dickinson Wright on retainer, as well as Hubei Daughtry. Thank you. Excuse me. Community grants can be part of the program design. As I mentioned, the savings I just referenced, most of those communities are leveraging community grants as part of that program design while still seeing massive savings, again, millions of dollars for those communities collectively. We also have the ability and are actively working on helping build out solar on local government facilities. So your biggest energy user typically in a community is a water plant. So we are helping actively procure solar for water plants, working with the communities to find good options for them. We most recently helped Athens vet an RFP process where they have now a 2.4 megawatt solar array going on their sewer plant. It's in addition to the solar they already have on the water plant and battery backup on the water plant. So we're very happy to have those conversations and at a minimum vet contractors, or if you need assistance in writing the RFP turnkey, we're happy to help with that as well. And again, model do not knock legislation, if that's of interest, is available as well. Here's some fun examples of community grants. I mentioned few of them, but the Athens County EMS station, we helped them put solar on the roof last year. It was a portion of the solar. That is the first net zero EMS station in the state of Ohio. Fun fact about that one, the improvements to the building envelope were paid for by the reduction in HVAC system. So they were able to put a smaller heating and cooling unit in the building, and it was paid for, that itself paid for thicker insulation, tape seams on the joints of the building materials. So that's a pretty fun place they'd be happy to show you around in. We currently have a sustainability fellow. It's actually an Ohio State student placed down in Dayton helping with the Leads for City certification. We provided, this is during COVID times, provided the local match for the first EV shuttle bus, rural transit bus. Dayton already has their old Sparkers from the old days are still active and new buses running on them. But first rural transit bus in Ohio was through a grant we provided. Lots of LED grants, lots of EV chargers, some of which are the first in the counties they serve. First EV police car in the state of Ohio. So be warned, if you're traveling south on 33, Logan has a Tesla police car now. I mentioned the microgrid in Athens. That was an AP Ohio grant. We provide the local match for that. This one's a little out of the box. We also have regional grants. So we provided the largest mountain bike trail system east of the Mississippi is the Bailey's mountain bike trail system. And they have historic mining buildings on that property that have been closed since 1956. We provided funding for them to do the study to apply for a $1.5 million Appalachian Regional Commission grant for heritage tourism. So while it may sound counterintuitive, it's part of heritage and ecotourism. We provided the resources for them to do that initial study to move forward. We were happy to do it. Renewable energy is, we consider it as things that are truly renewable. So for our portfolio, that includes largely solar, wind with some hydro. We utilize at present, and this is changing quickly, but at present, like most programs, renewable energy certificates. So buying the green attributes, regardless of where the power is coming from, it may be in the Midwest, it may be closer to home for the green value of the power. We care where the money's going, but for the environmental benefits, there's a lot more flexibility. So we are working on bringing those credits closer to home, as well as building out generation directly in Ohio. We currently have a just slightly under 50 megawatt project under an exclusivity agreement we're working on right now. So hopefully have some announcements on that very soon of how we're going to power and load, and we won't need to buy RECs outside of our own portfolio here very soon. If I can play this video, we'll see if it works. This is a good explainer on RECs. It might answer a lot of questions too. If I can get it to work on the right. Let's see. Oh, nope. Pushing the boundaries of the remote. Oh, go ahead. Yes, you want to do it manually? That'd be great. Thank you. If it doesn't work, we can give a quick explainer and move on. But I think they do a much better job concisely than I can. Should be about 2.5 minutes.
You want to just explain and then I can send the video to council?
Yeah, we can do that. That'd be great. So renewable energy certificates are the way that we can modify the green value of power. So when power goes to the PGM, it goes into a giant bucket. We can't tell you where one electron's coming from directly. People are buying the power itself. So what's happened in the United States is we've separated the green attributes and called them RECs. And those became a tradable commodity to where folks buy those green attributes, whether it's meeting a policy requirement or a local desire to procure clean energy. So this is the green attribute of that. And again, we'll be able to share that link and be able to go into detail there. And every green program that I'm aware of in Ohio runs on these right now. I can go back to advancing. We broke it. All right. All right. One thing I want to touch on here, so credentials. We like giving credit where credit's due. So a lot of our communities participate in the Green Power Partnership Program with the United States EPA. There are about 100 communities nationwide that are in this. With the exception of Dayton, they had a different policy decision. Their hydro, which doesn't qualify for this program, but everybody else that's with us, including Cleveland now, which was the only member of this program that wasn't part of SOPEC. And now they're part of SOPEC. All of the communities in Ohio that are part of this program are now SOPEC members. So we're very proud. And again, Upper Arlington to have the opportunity to do this as well. But this, you get a nice road sign to entrance to your community and highlighting that, like the one that was on the first slide of this packet. Something else you guys have already achieved. So I'll give you guys a shout out. We are active in the SoulSmart program as well. So kudos to you guys being the first lead or SoulSmart Gold community in the state. We are actively working to elevate many of our communities and pull many more along to get there with you. So exciting, and kudos to you guys that you're already there. Again, solar is important to us. We're very active in a lot of policy work as it relates to solar, both in our footprint and beyond. I mentioned we have a USDA program that we manage. This is for small farms and businesses across the state of Ohio to look at solar on their property. Unfortunately, it's only in rural census tracts in the state, but urban farming does qualify statewide. Here's a snapshot, probably of interest to you and your residents, of where we've been on pricing. I like to say we don't like to gamble with pricing. So you'll see some of these are much better than others. We saw opportunities to take savings off the table when there was dramatic risk, and we took the savings off the table and did exactly what the program was intended to do, which was meet our goals while also providing savings being one of the main goals. So you'll see a range there, 10% to 49% at the moment. That's all about timing of when we were buying it. The market has come down dramatically since last winter. So we're happy to say that we are saving millions across the board right now across all those communities. But you can see that's why there's such a big gap there. The more recent ones we've signed on would be Riverside, Marble Cliff, and Cleveland. They're all in the 30s on up for savings. Pretty happy about that. And I'll highlight Riverside is at 32% cheaper starting in August. And that's also by being 100% green. So those savings are against the Brown Power default offering by the utility. So the standard service offers, it's called, we're seeing those savings against that, which makes it all the better. And then Athens, I'll just briefly touch on that. You'll see them there at the bottom. They decided to pass the first carbon fee in the country. They went to the voters. 76% of them supported the idea and self-imposed a $2 per megawatt carbon fee to try to offset some of their carbon footprint. And it's voluntary for residents, but they have to opt out to not participate. But that generates about $100,000 a year for public facilities to add solar on their properties. So the first use of that was last year. We put a new transformer to help support that 2.4 megawatt array that we're also going to help them with here shortly. So that's why there's slightly less savings than the rest of the Southeast bundle. So program pricing process. There's some mechanics in here. We can walk through this in depth if you want to, but it takes about 2 months to activate a program is the takeaway from this one. Part of that is residents do receive an opt-out letter that describes the terms and conditions, term length of the program, pricing of the program, how to not participate in the program. We've seen very few folks not participate in our programs as of late. Last year, Dayton was 97% participation rate, which is unheard of, but when the savings are what they are right now, a lot of folks do find it to be a good program they want to be a part of. And again, we are very committed to local renewable energy. We are actively working towards helping equity be part of that by bringing that energy as local as it can be. So we experience all the benefits, whether it's tax benefits for the local communities that have generation assets, whether it's the air quality benefits they can take advantage of. We want to see the assets come to Ohio, and we're happy to be part of that active process to bring it here. And with that, I will turn it over for questions and invite Phil Lepple up here with me if he wants to help answer any of them.